Hi everyone, Eric Murray here, bringing you an asensei beginner workout on the rowing machine, right? So today we're going to go through a real beginner focus on the rowing machine. If you're new to this, one of your first times, I'm just going to peel back a few of the layers, keep it real simple so that we can get you on the rowing machine using good form and getting into a safe place so that you'll be able to do workouts on this and start to learn to love the rowing machine. Okay, so today, there's only a couple of setup things that we need to worry about on most rowing machines. One being your feet height, which is all to do with the comfortability of you while you're using the rowing machine. And the other one being your resistance, which is how easy or how hard that you're doing each stroke. Okay, we're not going to get into setting the monitor because if you're using a Concept 2 machine, it's fine. If you're using anything other, it's great. Most machines, once you start rowing, are going to start the timer, start the clock, and they're going to count up, okay? And so that's really all we need to worry about because we're going to do 10 minutes today and it's just going to go, okay? Biggest focus about the rowing stroke is that it's a sequence stroke, okay? When we sit on the rowing machine, what we do on the recovery, we basically do on the drive, okay? It's a reverse motion. So generally we're getting set up, we're getting our hands across the top of our knees, and we're just riding the slide forward, and then we take the stroke, we finish back, and then we repeat, okay? One of the most important things, and it's easy to show you in a vertical motion, is the way that we're trying to apply our power and our resistance, okay? Now, on the rowing machine, it's hard to envisage it because we're in a horizontal position, but the motion is no dissimilar to if we were going to pick something up off the floor, okay? We don't do this, and we don't do this, okay? We're very much wanting to open ourselves out as we stand up, right? So imagine yourself doing that, and now just put yourself into a horizontal position. So now we're here as if we were picking something up off the floor. So we want to try and avoid doing this or try and avoid doing this. And we want to be able to use our legs and our body and open ourselves back to the finish. Now, yes, it is a difficult motion to get going because it is slightly unnatural because of this horizontal position. But while we do our warm-up, we'll get the motion going in the warm-up to start, and then we'll row through, we'll keep it going continuously, and then we'll be able to start trying to form a sequence that will be continuous right through that 10 minutes of our workout, okay? So let's get into it. First and foremost, whatever machine you're on, we should have adjustable foot straps. Now these go up and down depending on your feet height. Now if we have them too high, what tends to happen is that we get to the front and we're a bit constricted and we'll get a bit tight, okay, with the body. So however your flexibility is, the size of your shoes, all plays a different factor in where you should have your feet, okay? Now it's just all about comfort. So if you're like, you know what, yeah, I feel like I can get my shins to a vertical position, feels pretty good, that's where you should be, okay? And remember, because this could be your first time doing it, set it where you are. You can always change it for the next time that you do it. And I think that's one of the best things, is that we should always be evolving while we're using the machine, okay? Now, resistance is a difficult one to discuss because what is the right resistance? There is no right resistance. It's a resistance for you, okay? If you do have a machine that has a resistance setting like the Concept 2, we go from 1 to 10. Let's just bring it back below halfway, okay? Halfway, you'd probably assume would be elite, and beginner, it's not quite, okay? It's all about the speed that the air is escaping the flywheel. So if we keep more air in the flywheel, then it's going to be spinning. It's not going to be as heavy for us to pick up each stroke, okay? So let's think about that for the first time. So those are the two functions that we need to set before we get on the rowing machine. And now we can set ourselves up and we can start rowing, okay? Now, as I said before, once we get our feet strapped in, once we get our feet strapped in and we pick up the handle, we're going to go through the motions to start the warm-up, and we're going to warm up and we're going to go and we're just going to row it through, okay? So as I said before, the basic functions of the rowing stroke, we want to get our hands away, okay? We want to get them out over the body. We want to have soft knees, so then we can just roll forward into the front. And when we're here, this is where we get to a position where we can push and swing through the stroke, okay? That's about the simplest explanation of using the rowing machine that you're going to find, okay? So, grab the handle, screen's going to turn on. Once we start, we're just going to carry on and we're going to get through this 10 minutes, okay? So, let's just start. This is what our hands would normally be doing, okay? We can feel the resistance. Remember the change trying to draw itself back. Okay, so this is just using our arm movement off the back, okay? And now let's just slowly start to add a little bit of body pivot. So because we want to get this body forward into a position at the catch, okay, we start molding this together. Now, make it continuous. Remember, we don't have to be ripping the shit out of it. We just want to be using our body weight, using these arms as they come through, okay? And let the knees be supple. Let the knees be supple. We don't have to hold them down and get a real tight stretch through our hammies and our calves, okay? And make it one of the biggest things that we want to talk about while we do this today as well is that we want a continuous momentum, okay? We don't want to be like stop, start real fast, and then do this and real fast. We want to try and mold it together to be a smooth movement, okay? Now, while we've got this movement going, let's loosen these knees up a little bit and just start creeping forward on the slide. Okay, see, we're starting to creep forward a little bit. And we're going to do this, and we're going to get longer and longer per stroke. Okay, keeping these same movements with the arms going out in front of us, over top of the knees. Okay, and remember, just really feel like we're hanging off this handle. Try to avoid too much of this, okay? See if we can use that body and the extension of our hands and our arms to really help bring back this handle into the body, okay? And remember, continuous, move it around. So let's keep extending the length of travel that we have on the slide, okay? So as we get further and further out, you're going to feel a longer and longer period of time that we are under pressure, okay, with these handles. Leave them out. We're starting to get into this position, like I showed you at the start, where we're trying to lift something off the ground. Hands stay out in front of us, out here, okay? And remember, we're trying to keep this continuous, moving. We don't have to go super fast, and we don't have to be doing this too quick. Okay, just a nice, easy flow and rhythm. At the end of the day, the rowing stroke's like going for a run. One leg doesn't go faster than the other, so we don't have to be like super racy and then slow and super racy and slow. Continuous, roll it through, okay? So by now, we should be starting to get out pretty close to having that seat right up by the ankles into a position. You'll find you can't go any further, okay, unless we start to dip our bodies. Keep the bodies proud. Keep that a little bit of core engagement. Okay, and just keep it nice and free, moving. Okay, there's a lot of people talk about keeping it really slow and quite mechanical, like this to start. If we can try and mold it in together, so the hands move away, we have a soft knee break, the body's pivoting forward, Okay, we can keep this continuous motion as we're rolling through the stroke. Okay, now that we're doing the full stroke, let's just manage our output. Okay, we don't want to be really having to rip and grip the handle. We want to start breathing because our energy is now being used up by the body. And because the great part about rowing is that it's a full body movement, it'll start to creep up on you pretty quickly. So the legs are the driving force. The body hinges back and swings off that leg drive, and then the arms draw into the body, okay? Think of it more of a draw than a pull. So if you think of it drawing into the body, one thing to think about, look at the chain in front of you, try and eliminate it doing too much of this, try and keep it straight and flat on the way back. Nice and smooth. Okay, we're just keeping the handles moving around the finish. Try and avoid too much stop-start. This is our continuous motion that we talk about, okay? So this is good. So we're rowing along. We've got nice freedom of movement. We've got hands moving around the finish, out over the knees. If we don't get them out, what tends to happen is this. Okay? Try and avoid that if we can. We're using the core around the finish as we drive, hold our bodies there and then forward. There and then forward. Okay, trying to keep a nice amount of pressure from the connection at the front right through to the finish at the back. Okay, so as you see on the screen, we've already been through 7 minutes. We've got 3 minutes left. So let's really work on the sequence, molding it together. Hands around the finish, there, move them out. Let the machine carry you forward. Okay? There's resistance in this chain. Let's use that to our ability and just ride ourselves forward. If we don't get set up enough off the bat, okay, so if we don't think about swinging the bodies from a 1 o'clock position here to an 11 o'clock through there, what tends to happen is we get into here and we don't have the ability to have a body swing through the stroke. We want to try and use the legs and the body in a big sweeping motion through the drive, okay? This is good. Nice and free, continuous motion, keep it moving. Feel the resistance with the hang. Okay, try and avoid thinking that I have to grab it at the catch. Just leave the hands out long. Use the hang strength in our body, in our lats, in our arms to hold that resistance from there right through. Okay? Remember the sequence. The legs drive, the body swings, the handles finish it off. Reverse order, hands, body, legs. Okay? So legs, body, hands, body, legs. This is good. Okay, so we've got under a minute to go. Breathe. Try and stay relaxed. Try and keep working on this resistance, the sequence, the continuous motion of our stroke. Nice. Okay, we've got 20 seconds left to go. Finish it well. Really try and lock in that motion. Okay, 2 more strokes. There's 1, 2. Done. Okay? Don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get a sweat on, and that was 10 minutes long. Okay, so just warm it down a little bit. Okay, have a drink. Have a drink if you've got one. And then I'll just refresh a few tips for you, okay, after that fact. Okay, so rowing stroke. There's lots going on, but actually there's not a lot. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but it's not. Okay, the hands have to get away. The body has to pivot. We have to ride that forward. We have to ride that shape forward. Okay, now if we don't get the hands away, we've already popped the knees up and we don't have the body back. See how we can never get into a position when we get at the catch. Okay, it's not wrong. Let me just get an understanding for you. What you can find with the rowing machine is we want to get you to your potential. Okay, now your potential is the full arc of the rowing stroke, having the there with the body, and then at the finish, having the body back here. That's the full arc, okay? If we don't quite get the full arc because we don't have strong enough core to be right here and really controlled, and we're only finishing here, it's fine, okay? Now, if we get to the front and we've tucked our seat under, we just lose full potential of what we could be doing with our body movement, okay? So yes, there's biomechanically the right shape that we want to get into, and then there's what people do. So we're just trying to push you as close to that biomechanical perfection as you can get, which therefore gives you better time on the screen, better numbers, more force, more power, okay, which is exactly what most people are looking for when they follow their journeys through on the rowing machine. You're using it to get better, fitter, faster, stronger, to go places, okay, to use it as a low impact full body workout. And that is the key and one of the best things that we've got about the rowing machine. Okay, so if you're going to use the machine again, how did you feel with your feet? Okay, did you feel like you were not getting enough? It was getting really tight, okay, with the setup, and you're like, my flexibility is just not there. Okay, drop your feet down. Okay, and then on the other flip side, if you're getting way up over here with the compression, maybe lift the feet a little bit more to stop you from sort of getting right over top and down on yourself. Okay, same with the resistance. Okay, if you felt like the flywheel was really just spinning over and there was not a lot of resistance behind the handle, then just add some resistance. It's really simple. Next time you do it, add that resistance. If you thought it was too hard, drop the resistance. This is the great part about the rowing machine, is we can set up different workouts, we can change our setup, we can change our resistance to make it better, to make a better feeling. It's probably the key word for you, to be able to use it to get better, okay? Those are the basics. It's a really simple beginner, 10 minutes getting you involved in the rowing machine, okay? Go back and do it again if you need to, but just remember the keys, remember the focus. The biggest focus that I like to teach, and I think people should learn when they're on the rowing machine, is it's got to be continuous, okay? Every time we stop and make it rigid motion, okay, it's just not as natural as it could be. Rather than being like a nice, smooth roll, okay, the machine's trying to make us go back. Okay, don't try this at home, but that's trying to go that way fast with its resistance. Therefore, let's use that as we go back on that recovery into the catch. Okay, so you can feel it trying to draw us forward. So let's get our body set up and then roll with it. Okay, roll with it. Here we go, roll with it. Try and make it as smooth as you can. Okay, but remember, we all start somewhere. When we learn something new, we all start somewhere. So go back, think about that continuous motion, think about the sequence, the hands away, getting that body forward, and then rolling into that front, okay, and then just pushing out of it with your feet, using that body, swinging through the stroke, and then repeat. Rowing's a hard sport. There's no let up. There's no time for us to say, hey, I'll just drop it back and just take a bit of a breather. It's a full continuous motion of a full body movement, and that's what makes it a fantastic health and fitness machine and movement. And it's something that we're all trying to perfect. Some of us have been pretty close. Some of us still trying to get there. But there's so much that you can do, and it's really rewarding at the end of the day. Okay? So keep it up. Keep trying. Keep working on it. A sensei's here if you need the help. And that's what we're after. We want you to get better, fitter, faster, and stronger.